Paul, is there any way to stop this lobby notification just because it might be quite disruptive?
I'm not. I don't think so.
Okay, thank you.
And I think people can still mute themselves. I think there's a bit of an echo going on as well. Right, sweet. Thank you very much. All right, so I'll just proceed. So to start off, here's just a quick summary of some of the key general announcements that aren't specific to products that we shared. The Azure Migration Program is a new program which we work closely with customer and partner to support Azure migrations. Locally and globally, we see this as a key opportunity to drive more migrations on Azure with our partners and customers, to accelerate Azure growth and update in our customer channels as well. There's a substantial amount of content available on this today, and partners are eligible to participate at AMP as AMP specialized partners. Sorry, if they do meet the few requirements, which are mainly tied to becoming an advanced specialized partner.
Oh, sorry.
If you watch if you watch a couple of sessions and keynotes on Inspire, you'll know that Power Platform is also a huge thing in Microsoft as well, with consumers and devs creating lots of new applications, especially around the coronavirus times. Sorry, can you guys put yourselves on mute?
Sam just forwarded me an invite because no one from Datacom was on the invite. Do you want to?
Yeah, send me an invite. That'd be good.
Just join him.
Yeah.
Ken, I think you're on mute.
Yeah, someone muted the whole audience. It was Yasmin from Datacom. We've muted everyone. Ken, come off mute.
Okay, sorry about that. Hopefully it's all okay now. But yeah, so just going back into it once again. Business applications is a huge focus for Microsoft here, and we are creating a new program called the Business Applications ISV Connect program, which is really accelerating the path to market for ISVs looking to build solutions mainly around the Power Platform product. Next one, we have a new Microsoft security competency. There isn't a lot of details shared on this at the moment, except that Microsoft, in a lot of the keynotes, once again, and a lot of sessions, it is one of the big areas of focus for both our partner channel and as an investment for Microsoft as a whole. I believe it was mentioned that there's over $1 billion of investment in R&D going into this, and I think that we'll see a lot more content, especially with the product updates, which is coming up in the coming slide. Just quickly, 5 new specializations around Windows Server and SQL Server migration to Microsoft Azure, Linux and open source databases migration, data warehouse migration to Microsoft Azure, modernization of web applications in Microsoft Azure, and Kubernetes on Microsoft Azure. In addition to these 5, there's also been an SAP on Azure advanced specialization that was announced back in May, and a specialization for Teams, which is in the works coming up. So all in all, that's 7 new specializations. And as you can see, this really is showing the amount of diversity and the amount of different things that we are really specializing with the Azure workload as well. There's 2 new cloud practice playbooks. So that is the App Innovation Practice Development and the Microsoft Azure Center of Excellence playbooks. In the past, a lot of these playbooks have been really popular and have really proven to be great for supporting partners build their business and looking to see what the best practices out there. So definitely do take some time to review that content if you have that time available to you. So let's move into the next slide. There we go. So in terms of some of the solution area announcements, going by product area, Azure first here. So the Azure Lighthouse was also announced, which is a brand new control plane for Azure to manage your customers' Azure instances as well as their Azure subscriptions and all of that. Being quite honest, I'm not super technical, so I'm not very sure exactly what the extent of it, but I do know that that is available and that is the way forward to manage your customers' Azure's subscriptions and all that sort of things as well. Azure HCL, which is hyper-converged infrastructure, is now an Azure service. Azure Sentinel third-party connectors are also available, which allows you to collect security data, detect and respond to threats, mainly around interaction with third-party programs as well. New Azure Migrate features, which mainly allow for importing and creation of assessments using uploaded configuration managements with the database data there. And lastly, Azure Blob Storage now supports the network file system 3.0, which enables support for read-heavy data workloads across media, energy, and financial services. Across the modern work piece, we have Together Mode, which I think is actually available today already. Even though it says launching in August, I did notice that the tab is available for us now. And I believe that it's really, once again, within that collaboration suite of things to increase productivity and collaboration within teams. Microsoft 365 security features including insider risk management and communication compliance features, double key encryption, endpoint data loss prevention. Communities, which is also a brand new app for the Yammer, which is generally available in the Teams mobile application soon, if not already now. And lastly, a new Teams feature, as with a lot of the other modules available, it's the scheduling module, which is a simple, as its name would say, module for scheduling within Teams itself. On the Dynamics and BizApps piece, we have Dynamics 365 Customer Voice, which is the new voice solution for D365. Dynamics 365 Connected Store, which is a tool to leverage data from sources such as video data and IoT sensor data, really around that Internet of Things kind of play. And Dynamics 365 Fraud Protection, which adds account protection and loss prevention capabilities, which is more of a security side of play for Dynamics 365. In Power Platform, we're seeing features such as location readiness, employee health and safety management, workplace care management, and location management. And I think a lot of this content is in response to the COVID situation that a lot of the world finds itself in, and to support developers in building applications in order to deal with and face with the situation that the pandemic has brought to us. So yep, in the next slide, I just want to talk about the market opportunities and successes that were announced in the keynotes and some of these sessions that were on Inspire. And here are just some of the big data points that we saw, available to us. So with some of the amazing results that we have achieved with the partner channel worldwide, including 95% of commercial revenue influenced by partners worldwide, 44% growth in co-sell revenue, 65% partner transaction via CSP, 58% in Azure revenue growth, and over 1 billion Windows 10 daily active users with 75 million daily actives on active Teams users, which just really shows the uptake and really shows that, how digital transformation has really taken, I think this has just accelerated so greatly, within the last year and also the last couple of months. I think it's appropriately said by Judson Althoff himself when he said that we've seen more digital transformation happen out of necessity over the last 2 months than we have seen in the last 2 years. And here are just a couple of other quotes as well that are really showing that there's a huge opportunity here for the partner channel within this space still. And I think, a quote I had not included in here was Gabriel was saying that the adoption and deployment of Teams was just a first step because there's so much more potential to work within Azure and also Teams as well. So talking about the market opportunity of things, one of the things that was called out by Gabriella within the session was one of our partners here in New Zealand, which is actually Nerdio, and the kind of opportunities that they are leveraging on the WVD space. So what we'll do is we'll just play this video, which is just a really short 2-minute clip to just really show and talk about that for a little bit. Hopefully it plays properly.
With WVD, organizations can get up and running in minutes from the Azure portal. You have the flexibility to choose the virtual machines, the regional locations, and you can set up multi-sessions for the users. You can even manage that environment and turn it into a managed service opportunity without much heavy lifting, especially if you team up with a partner like Nerdio. They've developed tools specifically for partners, for both SMB and enterprise-focused partners that can help you begin to deploy a WVD environment in only 60 seconds and deploy a complete desktop in just a few hours. And I was talking to Nerdio's Chief Revenue Officer, Joseph, recently, and he said they have been slammed, working around the clock to deploy WVD with partners to tens of thousands of users. It's been nonstop. Now, managing desktops isn't the only opportunity for you to make a pivot to managed services. I've had so many conversations with partners who've been putting off a transition into cloud and managed services, as well as monthly subscription billing. Do you know what those conversations sound like now? Now is the time. This is the opportunity when you can meet customers where they are. For years, I've heard your concerns about how to transition your books from upfront revenue to subscription service and your worries about disappointing your investors. I've had people say, if my customer's willing to pay me upfront, do I really want to transition from projects into monthly payment service schedule? But today, with customers uneasy about these big upfront costs, you can develop a managed service practice, bill them monthly, and show up as a hero to the customer. Yeah, I know. The reason you haven't gone there is because you're going to have a dip in revenue. And the question is how quickly you can fill that dip with new customers. But my question back to you is what happens if you don't take this step? Now may be the time. Maybe this year, your investors are expecting a little less from you and the customers are asking for monthly terms. You can make the investment into managed services that will help your customers and build your business long term.
Yep. How do I move to the next slide on this actually? Just click on it. Nisha, could you help me move to the next slide, I think, if you could?
Yep, sorry, give me a sec.
Yeah, I think I can't do the whole clicking with a mouse thing when we embed a video like that. Apologies for that. Yeah, but that's just to really show that there's a huge opportunity in the market, and it's not just for Nerdio to take, right? Although we do have them speaking a bit later about how WVD is a great opportunity available for our partner channel. And it's something that I think that all of our partners should be taking a look at and seeing what they can do within that space as well. So moving on from that, a really interesting slide I saw on the APAC kickoff session for Microsoft Inspire was the stages of industry disruption. And this really showed how different industries were adapting to the current situation brought on by COVID-19. As you can see here, there are industries which are thriving under digital transformation, which include things such as telecommunications, health and life sciences, media and entertainment and government. And there are plenty of different industries in the middle here, which are looking to transform as we speak, within this time. That includes manufacturing, education, banking, transport and logistics, and, just to name a couple. And it's just a great opportunity, as mentioned, for partners to be working in this space. So now, so more than ever, digital transformation is happening before our eyes. And I guess, rather unfortunately, it is happening out of necessity. But nonetheless, this is an opportunity that many partners have leveraged on. And it's something to look forward to, I think, within the coming year. So I need to request control, my mistake. Yep. Let me just play out the animations on this slide. Also, on the APAC level, here we have the Microsoft One commercial partner priorities as listed for FY21. So the main 4 priorities that were listed in that call was to continually drive sales growth with the partner ecosystem, invest in technical skilling, continually co-selling with our partners as we have already, and also improve partner experience. And within all of this, there was also opportunities that we have listed here for our partners to leverage in each of these spaces as well. So for instance, with driving sales growth with the partner ecosystem, we are driving more industry and solution sales with ISVs, and also we're doubling down with more remote work security, business continuity, and cloud migrations. So for example, earlier we mentioned the Azure migration program. That is a good example of how we're implementing brand new programs to drive more growth with our partners as well. Around the technical skilling piece, as mentioned earlier, we have new competencies coming out, new specializations to properly, recognize partners which are specialized in areas that previously they would not have been recognized in. So things such as our partnership with SAP, Kubernetes, are some of just to list a couple of new things, but also around the new security and data and analytics capabilities areas that we are seeing coming up as a huge demand in the customer channels. And this is really just to help build more cloud adoption, change management, and usage within the customer channels we work with. Third of all, we have the co-selling with partners, and you've probably heard this, multiple times across different instances of this call, but co-selling is starting to really kick off, and it's landing really well across multiple different geos within the world, and also New Zealand is definitely one of them. And we are working closely with a lot of partners to lead different marketplace offers, develop more partner-to-partner motions where different partners are selling their solution alongside solutions of other partners, but also to reach new customers through the Microsoft brand, sales teams, and other partners with our demand gen programs as well. Lastly, this is more of a pain point, if I had to be quite honest, but we are working honestly, we're always working to always improve the partner experience. And what that means is implementing new specialist teams for first-time support of resolutions. We're optimizing Partner Center to make it more of the centralized place where you can do everything you need to do with your Microsoft partnership, and also implementing co-sell bidirectionally through Partner Center, meaning that it should be something built into Partner Center rather than a separate tool entirely to run co-sell motions. Sorry. Yep, seeing that I'm quite over time, I'm going to gloss over this section quite quickly, but essentially these are just some of the great sessions that we've had and we thought to recommend to you if you would like to browse some sessions. There are over 300 sessions available on Inspire 2020, so if you would like to just have a much shorter list on what you could take a look at, here are some of the ones that we recommend as the top key sessions that were displayed on the event itself. Here's just more sessions around data and AI and apps and infrastructure for those who are interested. As this is the last thing, I would just like to give one big shout out once again to Damon Kelly and Enlighten Designs for winning the New Zealand Partner of the Year award. And just wanted to congratulate them as my final slide here. And a good 5 minutes over time, but for Inspire on Demand content, you can just still look it up over here. So that is on myinspire.microsoft.com/home. And for APAC Inspire, if you're looking for the content on the kickoff, you can download the deck on this link right here. And the recording of that session is available here as well. I'll be on the chat for any questions if there are for Inspire. And otherwise, once again, thank you all so much for making it such a successful and great event. And we hope to see you all again there next year. Thank you very much. And I think I'll hand it over to you, Pip.
Cool. Thanks, Ken. And hi, everybody. Nice to be back on the partner marketing call, the partner webinar, but under my new guise of head of marketing. And as promised, I was going to, continue keeping the opportunity open for me to come in and where I'm discovering, I guess, interesting information that I think is really relevant to you as partners, is bringing it into this forum and sharing with you. And what I discovered of late, and I presented not so long ago. Whoops, I have just lost the presentation. Where did that go?
Sorry, Pip, you might have to share your screen because you have a PDF.
Ooh, I'm sharing it from the document. I think you've just taken the presentation away.
Yep. Your document's a PDF, so you have to share your screen.
So can I not scroll through the presentation, or? Okay,
No,
got it. Rightio, bear with me, team, and I will just get that up and running. 1 minute. God, aren't we just having some technical difficulties today?
Love it.
Love it. Here we go. Luckily, I've got it on hand. There we go. Right, we're back. So what I've mentioned this recently in a presentation, and this has come down from Corp, a great research piece from our corporate head office on the future of business resilience. And I think this is really relevant to share with you all. And this is a document that you can use and as well as reference. There's four sections to this piece of research, and it's from the Boston Consulting Group. So I'm not going to cover off the sections in depth today, but I want to give you the opportunity and awareness of this piece of research so that you can, one, reference it, 2, dive into it a little bit deeper of where you might find it relevant. And also 3, to have some sort of sound bites which might help you as you move your business forward or are working with customers in and around technology today and the environment that we're in through COVID. So really sort of the upshot of this one is around the fundamental change in how all of our businesses and globally, how we've had to rethink and change how we operate. And ultimately, to be successful, how there's one thing that we need to have in common, that is around resiliency in business and how we strengthen that resilience in business across people, teams, and the organisation through technology. So there's nothing like, at the end of the day, being bored by research and numbers. So as promised, I'm not going to delve too deeply, but these are the kind of sound bites that I think are really valuable that you could use across your go-to-market strategies, across in with your customers and part of your pitch documents. And as long as you're referencing the Boston Consulting Group, and at the end of each slide is a reference point and Microsoft along that point, and then it's relevant information for you. So there's a really key note here, 80% globally across business leaders across all industries intend to accelerate their digital transformation, ultimately achieving a faster return on investment. And this is the slide that I love, that I think is really valuable in for our market, so that every organisation will need to embrace digital technology and build their digital capability to be resilient and thrive in the face of change. So seeing here that with agility and productivity and stability and performance, some really high percentage marks here in and around the digital resilient levers needed, ultimately resulting in cost savings across business. And we know that every organisation's journey is unique, that employee safety and ensuring business continuity have been front of mind for everybody. And I'm mindful, a lot of you are business owners, so you've all lived and breathed this, and have all been in the same place. So not only that have you living and breathing this, but our customers have been living and breathing this. And so how we move from a response phase into a recover phase of where we are in New Zealand, very unlike other places around the world, they're still into the responding and trying to and lockdown and flattening the curve. Current stage that we're in New Zealand is how we recover. And there's some really key points in here and about at the stage we're at and how we can help approach customers and how we can help them restart and rebound for the future and regrow their market back at the right time. So some key points here in around allowing people to come back to work safely, how they sell, service, deliver on customer expectations, agile supply chains, automate repetitive tasks to focus on what matters. Some key points there, but also thinking about the future and reimagining what work looks like and around when uncertainty and volatility linger in our market. So key points around here, how we migrate our customers to the cloud to save them money, improving agility, how we consolidate data and analytics across silos and make better decisions, personalising sales and service. So something that we live and breathe day to day and through technology, but how we guiding our customers in and around where the market opportunities are and how we can invest their business to give them that, I guess, competitive advantage and strengthen their resilience and strive for the future. So section 2 of this, and without diving too much deeper, is around the 6 dimensions of the opportunity, which is critical to strengthen the resilience. So it's, of course, current stage is that business continuity and growth, where we've been through developing agile operations and protecting and growing top of line, and we're at this current stage around stability and adaptability, enabling people and accelerating data and platforms. And then, of course, moving forward, having a robust foundational level on enhancing cybersecurity and strengthening the financial platform that companies are working within. What I want to point out, team, here is the links at the bottom you'll see down here, which you can dive deeper into the report and garner some more insights if you wish from there. So I'm not going to keep on going too much because there's nothing worse than someone sort of, going through slide by slide in depth, but I do want to land in and around how Microsoft can help you in on this journey with your customers, partnering with Microsoft. Without labouring on our portfolios, you know what we're good for, integrated solutions, familiar, easy use, secure, and a value proposition. The slide I want to land on, I think, is really this one here, which I think is a really beautiful demonstration of what products across what sales play that can strengthen resilience across people, teams, and organizations that you work with. And I think this would be a really great screen grab as you're presenting Microsoft offers and solutions across these dimensions that people have been affected by within their corporation and or business in and around COVID. So, and then of course, in and around what capabilities Microsoft can dial up for you. And then probably not so relevant, but always good to have a look at is the customer stories that sit at the back of this deck here. They are small, bite-sized chunks, which I think is a really good template. When we think of case studies or telling a customer story here in country, we think long white papers, big chunky documents, videos. But I love this demonstration of a case study where it's a real bite-sized chunk of a case study of what this business did around ensuring business continuity. So you'll see some global case studies here. This one next up from Australia for public sector, and there's a variety across from global needs there. So I guess what I want to sort of land on is that this piece of research is available to you. It will be shared alongside the within the Yammer channel when Anusha shares the recording, or vice versa. If you have my email address in the document, you can email me directly, and I'll share the link with you. My email is pip.simeon@microsoft.com. I'll chuck it in the chat as well. So I hope you found it insightful. I do hope you use it, or in the very least give you some insights on the market today and challenges in business that we're all living and breathing. So that's it from me. Next over to the next speaker in the mix. I'll hand back over to you, Dazza.
Thank you, Pip. Sound check. Echo. Right, just checking everyone can hear me okay?
Loud and
Yeah, you're
clear.
good.
Awesome, thank you. I'll pop my video so you can see me. So good afternoon, everybody, and two things. Thank you firstly for taking the time to spend with us today. And secondly, also just want to thank the channel, all the partners out there for the work that they do every day out there selling our solutions and helping customers be more secure through these really extraordinary times. We certainly have lived through the most amazing couple of months. And it's just been amazing to see how New Zealand as a market has just responded and rallied around where we are. So I just want to touch very quickly on where we are from an SMB perspective in terms of our priorities. And I just wanted to touch very quickly on some of the core themes and the core focus areas from our part of the business that we're going to be looking at. The first is around what we're calling the focus on top unmanaged. As most of you know, Microsoft manages about 450 customer accounts directly through our enterprise and corporate teams. But below that is basically the rest of New Zealand businesses who kind of don't fit within that space. And there are some significant organizations that sit within that space that are more than probably about 300 users, or 300 seats. And in this financial year, we're going to have a very specific focus and a very specific play targeting those customers with various sales plays, and I'll touch on those briefly in a moment. But primarily, it'll be led by a number of different engagement mechanisms, from digital marketing through to other resources that we use to target those customers to help drive this digital transformation message. So it's a really exciting place for us, and we believe there's significant opportunity for the channel within that space. The second piece is around ISV and around ISV recruitment and activation. So I mean, ISV for me is anyone that's doing software development, and it might be a purist ISV that's developing solutions for customers. An ISV you could categorize as a software development team that sits within a larger organization. But effectively, there's a massive opportunity both to migrate existing line of business apps, on-prem apps that are legacy that can be containerized and moved into the cloud, to leverage the advantages that you get from running those solutions on Azure. So there's a whole bunch of work in a team that's behind that, looking at how we accelerate the adoption of Azure-related services through our ISV community. And the third, of course, is through our partner channel and scaling through our partner channel, which is critical to our business. We've got some very specific and deliberate plays in motion this year, which will help align things like partner enablement, resources that we're putting in place at the indirect providers to help drive and support enablement, readiness, etc., to help support the solutions that we're going to market. So at a top line, those are the three high-level ones. From a modern workplace perspective, which from an SMB perspective, Paul Bucket looks after, there are three key themes. The one is around, in line with this massive transformation that we've seen over the last couple of months, is making sure that our customers are able to work remotely, but do so in a secure manner. So we've got some sales plays that are related to this, and this is really talking around the productivity suite. So it's Microsoft Office Business, Microsoft 365 Business Premium, E3 and E5. And related to that is the hardware platform as well, so Surface, so that we transition customers from having ad hoc and disparate IT infrastructures to structured, organized, coherent, standardized environments where you're able to reduce cost and mitigate the risk in those organizations. It's amazing the number of customers we talk to that have got legacy hardware, legacy apps, etc., that have got a really straightforward path to a digital transformation through the products and services that we're able to offer. And in line with that, obviously, is around transforming organizational productivity. So leveraging the tools and the products that we've got available to help customers be more productive whilst remaining secure and whilst working remotely. So from an intelligent cloud perspective, we've seen just incredible growth from an Azure perspective in the last year. And interestingly enough, that growth has continued through COVID-19. We've seen massive adoption of remote work, Windows Virtual Desktop, some of the more simple workloads, just straightforward backup on Azure. But we've continued to see a real shift in terms of our customers moving to cloud with the help of our partners. So it's key for us this year to continue acquiring new customers on Azure in terms of their first workload, but then extending beyond that and getting into second and more advanced workloads. We're starting to see more interest in the more advanced workloads such as data and AI, and they are, those are super critical workloads for us strategically. And really create some great value from a customer perspective as well. I mentioned earlier around our top customer segment, so there's clear focus on that in terms of growing our Azure footprint within that space. And I think we also want to improve the agility of the Azure partner ecosystem I mentioned earlier, by the enablement and readiness and the training that's available to help enable our channel to help deliver the more advanced workloads that we've got from an Azure perspective. So if I think of the things that are top of mind to me when we talk about our SME business, one is to sustain and keep that momentum in terms of this cloud transformation and cloud adoption from an Azure perspective. The second point, which is really equally important, and I think it's not as well talked about in the channel, is around change management. And whilst we can deploy our technologies into customers, so for example, we might deploy a Teams solution in from a productivity and collaboration perspective, there's often a significant change that customer has to go through and undergo in order to not only get Teams into their organization, but to actually start using Teams effectively. And I think there's a great opportunity from a partner perspective to help drive that transformation in your customers through change management processes and proper business transformation processes. It's really, really important. The third piece is around solution assessments. And we've got a bunch of tools which Suzette and her team are running, which allow you to run solution assessments from security to cloud migration propensity. And they're available from us. And I really recommend, if you haven't or don't know enough about them, reach out to us so that we can get that information to you. There's some great assets which literally put in your customers' hands information which is crucial to helping them decide on what a cloud migration journey would look like for them. The fourth piece is we're continuing to invest in the channel. So we're putting headcount directly at our indirect providers, which are supporting both modern workplace and intelligent cloud workloads. And those resources are there to help support and drive the partner community in terms of the resources that they need to continue driving those parts of our businesses. And then lastly, and I'll ask PB to speak about this a little bit, is that there is a M365 business voice promo, which is about to be launched, I think, in the next couple of weeks, or may have been launched already. But
just wanted to say thank you to all of you, and thank you for all that you do in our channel, all that you do for our business. And I'll hand over to Mr. B. Thanks, PB.
Thanks, Darren. Hey guys, it's Paul Bowkett here. Sorry for the trouble we had earlier, and just so you know, we did realise that. In fact, the meeting organiser can change the participant options post-meeting. Anisha wasn't able to do that though because while someone else was in control of the slides, it would have broken that. So apologies for that. We'll fix it for the next round as well. I'm going to literally do a couple of slides here where I'm just going to quickly update you on a promo we've got coming up. So, oops, go back a slide here. So this promo is, oops. Apologies. Okay, so this promo is launching tomorrow. Well, US time 1st of August, so probably in a couple of days for us here in New Zealand. We will launch a business voice promotion, which essentially gives you, it's the second line in the table that you see there. So this is the ability to add the voice calling or the voice SKU without calling plan, that is, to existing Office 365 Microsoft 365 business tenants. And so the price point that you'll see on the slide is US dollars. I don't have yet the promo price, but the CSP providers will have that for you shortly. But in US dollars, it's dropping about $4 off. So our current price in New Zealand is about $16 recommended retail price. And so you'll see that drop, similar kind of amount. So that's great news, great opportunity. We've got, as you know from past calls, we've got lots of telco carrier providers in New Zealand providing the voice service, the Teams direct route voice service. And then this is a further incentive to drive existing customers and new ones as well up to voice calling in Teams. And the other one is the first line there, which is the audio conferencing promo. That actually launches in a couple of months' time. But I think this is great news. This is a 12-month free offer. So if you want to use normal PS10 dial-in calling or conferencing for calls, i.e. like this call right now, you would know in the menu request, it has a phone number that anyone can dial into the call. And so that will be free for 12 months. However, it will only run until March 31st. So just be aware of that. So you want to make sure you get your customers on. It's for new customers, and so that you can get them signed up to Teams Voice and then audio conferencing as well. It's a great incentive to do that. There's a couple of extra slides in here which just talks about kind of the value of this and how you can drive usage as well. A couple of key things to point out is that if people are driving usage in certain customers in certain ways, there are our usage incentives as well as part of our FY21 incentive programs as well, which we will cover in more detail actually in the next call. Once we have some of that finalized. There's also a guide here. I'm going to pretty much wrap it up at this point, but there's a guide in here that talks about all the different workshop content, FAQs, material links, things like that. So you can jump onto the website, onto the M365 partner site, and yeah, grab all that content. And I'll just one last thing on the third column, or fourth column there, the month 3 to 11, you'll see the new securing remote work kit. I did talk about this on the call last month, so make sure you do go and grab our new secure remote work campaign content. Some really awesome content there to talk to customers about how they enable a remote workforce and how they ensure they secure their business and staff and IP appropriately given this new world that we live in. So with that, guys, I'm going to hand over very quickly now back to Anisha and Co.
Thanks, Paul, and I'll hand over to Joseph. Hey, sorry, Joseph, you're still on mute.
Try that again. Hello, everyone. Hopefully you could hear me.
Perfect.
Joseph Lanty is here. Regards to everyone in New Zealand from New York. Again, Joseph Lanty. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer at Nerdio, and I am incredibly excited to talk to you today about our company and really how we could enable you, managed service providers, partners in New Zealand, to build successful cloud practices in Microsoft Azure. So the first question I think you have to sort of answer is, why is it that partners are having trouble building cloud practices in Azure? Why are more partners not moving from the on-premises world into the cloud? And typically when we speak to service providers and we ask them this question, we hear three things. The first thing we hear is the partner says, I don't have any people in my company who know how to architect and manage an Azure solution. So I could go hire someone in New Zealand and bring them into my company, but that's going to actually cost me some money. So I'm going to stay on premises. The second challenge that we hear is people say, I've looked at Microsoft Azure, I've tried it, I've gone to the Azure portal. It just seems a little bit complicated. I don't quite know exactly what virtual machine to choose, what resources I need, and how to really sort of get on with it. And then the third challenge that we hear is the MSP says, I feel that the cloud is risky. Why risky? Because most MSPs, most partners, they know how to buy a server, install it at the customer site, manage it, monitor it, and secure it. And now we're saying, welcome to the world of cloud consumption. Welcome to a world where you need to charge your customers based on how much they consume. So a lot of MSPs say, well, that seems really risky to me because I don't know how much they're going to consume. What if they overconsume? It's going to be like this runaway train that I can never catch, and I'm not going to make any money on the deal. So those are typically the challenges that we hear. At Nerdio, we have a product called Nerdio for Azure that I'm going to talk about in a moment that helps you, the partner, overcome all of these challenges. But before we get to that, let's talk for a moment about what I think is the most exciting Azure service to hit the partner community in many, many years. It's WVD, it's Windows Virtual Desktop. And very briefly, when people ask me, Joseph, what is Windows Virtual Desktop? Why do I, as an MSP, need to know about that? The way I describe it is, simply put, Windows Virtual Desktop allows your customer, your small or medium business customer, to stream their Windows 10 desktop from the Azure cloud. And they could stream that desktop onto any device, anywhere they are. And it looks just like the desktop that they are running maybe when they were sitting in their office, but they happen to be running it on their iPad or their Chromebook. I know I shouldn't say that in a Microsoft presentation, or a laptop or a desktop, wherever they are on any device they have. So Microsoft has really made this whole process of spinning up virtual desktops significantly easier from the technology standpoint, but also significantly easier from the licensing standpoint. Because in the old world of virtual desktops, before October 2019, what we called the VDI world, you had to license Windows Server, RDS CALs, and shared computer activation. And in the world of Windows Virtual Desktop, as long as you have Microsoft 365 Business Premium or Windows 10 Enterprise, you have an entitlement to run Windows Virtual Desktop in the Azure cloud. So it's much, much, much easier for you to quickly spin up a customer in Windows Virtual Desktop. Now, of course, as a partner, then that sort of raises the question, okay, like, how do I do this? Again, I have the same challenges that I just mentioned. I've looked at Azure. I'm not quite sure I understand it. I don't really understand the financial model around it. It's kind of complicated to me. So at Nerdio, we're an ISV. We're a US-based ISV that does business all over the world, including New Zealand, as was mentioned earlier. And we have 4 investments in our product, in our SaaS product, to empower you to build a successful cloud practice in Azure. Let me take you through each of these investments that we've made. Okay, so the first is deployment. How does it work? With our tool, Nerdio for Azure, you would go to your cloud distributor. It could be Ingram Micro Cloud, could be Dicker Data, it could be Ripe, it could be any of the distributors you use, and you purchase your Azure subscription and your Microsoft 365 subscription. You come back to our product, to Nerdio for Azure, and you connect your subscription to our tool. And within a few hours, the entire customer environment in Azure is automatically built for you. What do I mean by that? Your domain controller, your Active Directory, the networking, the storage, the backup, the Microsoft 365 environment. We bring the bits over from the on-premises environment into the cloud. We spin up your virtual desktops if you want, including Windows Virtual Desktop. So a process that typically takes a partner a few weeks to do, standing up their customer in Azure, we can do not in a few weeks, but we could do it in a few hours. So you, the partner now, don't need to go hire an expensive Azure engineer. You simply use our automation platform, you sit back in your chair and you watch your customer environment being built for you. That's the first investment we've made. The second investment we've made is helping you understand the pricing of Azure. Now, many MSPs, many partners have said, you know, I'd like to move to Azure, but I don't quite know exactly what it costs. So I worked at Microsoft for 23 years, and I think I could say this with some background and intelligence. Most MSPs, the first stop they take is they go to something called the Azure Calculator. And they quickly realize that they first need to acquire a PhD in Azure Calculator in order to operate it, because the Azure Calculator wasn't really designed for the MSP, for the SMB scenario. So what we've created at Nerdio is something called the cost estimator. You answer a few questions about your customer environment. We take you through a wizard, and we spit out a sheet of paper that looks like what you see on the screen. We show you a few things. We show you the per user per month cost to you, your cost to purchase Azure, Microsoft 365, and Nerdio from your distributor. And we architect the solution for you. If you look at the bottom of the screen, we show you which Azure resources you need, which virtual machines you need, the virtual machine family, how many cores, the OS disk size. So now when you go to your distributor, the conversation has become much easier. You call them up, you talk to your salesperson, you say, I need these virtual machines. And by the way, I know how much it costs already because Nerdio has worked it out for me. And then you as a partner, you take that per user per month cost. In this example, it's $51. And you put your margin on top of it and you go to your customer and quote them a price to bring them to the cloud. So we really demystify the whole topic of pricing in Azure. The third investment we've made is management. So once you have actually brought your customer to Azure, then you need to do the day-to-day management of them in the Azure environment. And that's very taxing on your help desk because your customer is calling in all the time asking questions like, hey, I lost my password. I think I need a different virtual machine. Can you add a new employee into Azure? So what we've done, we've created a portal called the Nerdio Admin Portal that allows you to manage all of your customers in Azure and accomplish every task you want to accomplish in Azure in 3 clicks or less. So we've simplified the whole process of managing customers in Azure. And then finally, the fourth part of our product, the fourth investment, is optimizing the Azure environment. And the way we do this is we've built in some quite sophisticated but easy to use auto-scaling technology. Auto-scaling allows you to automatically turn off and turn on Azure resources in the off hours or the on hours. So imagine you have a customer, maybe they're a doctor's office, and every night at 6 p.m., all the doctors, nurses, and staff all go home, and at 8 o'clock the next morning, they come back in. Wouldn't it be amazing if Azure knew that and would spin down the resources so that you don't have to pay for the Azure meters that are spinning? That's the concept of auto-scaling, and that's what we do in our product. So those are the 4 investments in our SaaS offering, Nerdio for Azure. If you think about the typical Windows Virtual Desktop migration and where we fit in, typically a partner will do some kind of an assessment on the WVD environment. And once they've assessed the on-premises infrastructure, they'll then use Nerdio to price it with our cost estimator, to deploy it, and then to connect the on-premises infrastructure into the cloud and move the bits over. While finally, then we use Nerdio to optimize the environment with auto-scaling and manage it day to day before you are finally being charged for Azure by your cloud distributor, by your indirect provider. So that's the typical WVD migration path. Again, typically it would take a partner a few weeks to deploy a customer in Azure. There probably would be some mistakes along the way. With us, it's just a few hours. So if you think about kind of where we fit in to the overall ecosystem, I always like to show this wheel. The customer is at the center of everything you and we do. The customer has their desktops, their servers, their Microsoft 365. You, the partner, you're that circle, the black circle that goes around. I shaded it black in honor of the All Blacks. So you are providing the customer with migration, with strategy, with support, with monitoring. What do we do at Nerdio? We help you be successful. We help you deploy, price, manage, and optimize the Azure environment. We are a tool that you use in your managed service practice to build a successful practice in Azure. We have two products that we sell, Nerdio for Azure Core, which is our entry-level product. It allows you to move basic IaaS environments into the cloud. This is US dollars MSRP pricing, but we charge $59 a customer account a month. So no matter the size of your customer that you want to move into Azure, we charge a flat $59 a customer a month. And the enterprise product does everything that Core does, with one important addition. It allows you to spin up virtual desktops. If you're looking to move to Windows Virtual Desktop, you want Nerdio for Azure Enterprise. And our pricing, the MSRP is $12 US a desktop a month. I always like to close these calls by reminding partners that when it comes to building a successful cloud practice in Azure, perhaps one of the most important things to get your head around is to understand how you could make money selling Azure. There's this tremendous myth in the ecosystem that you can't make as much money in the cloud as you can on premises. And I'm here to tell you definitively that is not true. We've actually written a white paper on this. If you go to our website at getnerdio.com, we have something called the Nerdio Academy. We've written a white paper on this, and we show you the 4 ways that you can save up to 80%, 80% off of the list price, or what's called the pay-as-you-go price of Azure. Obviously, becoming a CSP reseller, purchasing Azure through the CSP program is one of those ways. Leveraging something called Azure reservations, where you get to reserve a certain amount of compute at a very high discount, is a second way to do it. Leveraging a great licensing program Microsoft has called Azure Hybrid Usage, where you get credit for the on-premises Windows Server that you've already purchased, and you get to bring those cores into the cloud and not have to pay for Windows Server again. That's another way to save money. And then finally, to use an automation platform like Nerdio to auto-scale the environment and to resize it and to turn it on and off when it needs to be used and when it is not in use. So very, very important as a partner to understand, how to really make money and how to create an offer in the market that will allow you to make significant margins. I believe that every partner on this call today has an Azure opportunity. I'm sure every partner here has a customer that has a server that probably needs to be decommissioned, and there's no reason to buy another server. It's a great opportunity to bring that customer into Azure. You may have a QuickBooks server that needs to be decommissioned. You may want to do a backup like the previous speaker talked about. But I believe every partner here needs to do this. And when I worked for Microsoft, I worked for a guy named Terry Myerson, and he had this very famous phrase. He said, "You have to win somewhere before you win everywhere." And I really believe in the world of Azure, that's super true. You're not going to build an entire cloud practice in Azure overnight. You're going to start with your first customer. And then you're going to get to your second and your third and your fourth. And before you know it, you're going to have this incredibly profitable cloud practice in Azure. But it starts with the first customer. So it was really great speaking with everyone today. I welcome you to reach out to us. If you go to our website at getnerdio.com, we have a free trial of our product that you could spin up. It's a fully functioning trial. We have a free version of our cost estimator. We have something called the Nerdio Academy with about 700 articles and videos to teach you on the business side and the technical side how to build a cloud practice in Azure. And finally, although it's not on the slide, please permit me to give you my email alias. I'm going to type it in to the chat here so you have it, but it is jlandes, JLANDES, @getnerdio.com. We have many partners in New Zealand, and we would love each and every one of you to reach out to us. I know this was only a short 15-minute overview, but if you're thinking about moving to Azure and you're thinking about moving to Windows Virtual Desktop, let us help you talk through your specific customer situation. We'll help you price it out, and we will even help you do the deployment to kind of look over your shoulder and make sure that you do it successfully. So with that, a very big thank you to the team at Microsoft. Big thanks to Joe Donnelly for having me. And I really look forward to hearing from all of you. Again, jlandys@getnerdio.com. Thank you so much, and have a great rest of the day in New Zealand.
Thank you so much, Joseph. And for those who don't know, Joseph is currently in a 1 a.m. time zone. So thank you for joining us. I will open the floor up to questions if anyone has any. I know we're a bit short on time as well, but thank you to all our speakers, and thank you to everyone who joined us today as well. We will get this recording up on Yammer, so Paul put up the Yammer link. If you haven't joined our Yammer network, please do so, and I will also put up the slide at the end to do with our other comms channels as well. Thanks, team, and have a great month. Feel free to come off mute if you have any questions as well.
Bring them on.
Yeah,
Please bring questions.
Yeah, we'll stick around for a few minutes for those that want to stay, or feel free to jump off. Thanks, guys, for attending today.
No questions. Here I am. I'm ready. Bring them on.
You got nothing else to do. 1 a.m. in New York, right?
I'm just sitting here. I mean, I'm up. So ask away, you know?
No better time, guys, if you're still on.
And, you know, let's talk about Windows Virtual Desktop and Azure.
Oh, Akash has his hand up. Akash, do you want to come off mute?
Hey, Akash.
You did an exceptional job, of course, Joseph, in explaining your service and product and the proposition overall with cloud. So thank you for doing that. I think probably everyone got the full gist of it anyway.
You know, we do a daily class called Demystifying Azure for MSPs. And we get people actually from, you know, all over the world, but certainly largely, I'd say, North America because of the time zone. But if you all ever wanted us to run a New Zealand version of it, we actually have 3 classes that we give. The first one's called Demystifying Azure for MSPs, and it's really like a basic understanding of why you as a managed service provider should build a cloud practice in Azure and how to do it. The second class we give is Windows Virtual Desktop for MSPs, and the third class we give is how to price an Azure offer for your customers. And we run them every day, but if there's, you know, sort of a different time zone we could run them in, and we can invite your partners to attend, I would love to do that. I don't know who I would work with on that. Maybe Joe or you or something.
Yeah, with Joe and
yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
so for there's people still on the call. Can you just put a yes or no in the window if that would suit you, or put a yes if you'd like to do something like that? If anyone's still there.
Yeah, look at Christy. She's going for it. Look, Joseph, I'll reach out and we'll definitely take you up on that offer. I think it's a terrific idea, and I think there'll be a lot of value for our MSPs. I'll work with some of our disties on it as well and loop you in so we can hedge a plan.
Awesome.
Perfect. And thank you so much for the time and the 1 a.m. Appreciate it. It was super clear and concise as normal. And look forward to partnering with you more down under here.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Very excited to do it both in the SMB world and even in the enterprise world with our Nerdio Manager for WVD product. So look forward to doing it. And like I said, man, one of these days, I've only been to New Zealand once in my life. And when I was down there one time, I came back and I said, man, why doesn't everybody live here? This is great. So it's time to come back. So hopefully one day when airplanes fly again, we'll be there.
Sounds like a plan. Thank you so much, Joseph. Take care.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Thank you very much.
See you, Joseph.
Bye-bye. Thanks, everyone.
Actually, I just read, just as a funny little anecdote to that, I read, was it Stuff this morning, an article about apparently the New Zealand American visitation website is getting, was it a hit every 30 seconds from someone in America, or the New Zealand immigration site?
Oh, I saw that too. Is that actually legit?
Yeah, I think so. Everyone in America is like, how do we move to New Zealand?
Man, we'd love to have Joe. Surely he comes through.
Well, we might as well wrap this up. Looks like there's a lot of people still sitting on the call, or that, or they've walked away from their computers. Hey, thanks.
All good.
Yeah, thanks guys for joining. We'll sort out the problems from for next time as well in terms of the lobby. So
Thanks everyone. Thanks, Greg.
cheers.
Thanks, Nisha. Thanks, PB.
Yeah, thanks, Anisha, for organizing. Cheers, guys. Bye.
Thanks, Darren. Bye, team.
See ya.